What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here, welcome back to the channel, and for today's WWE news video, holy shit, we have quite a bit to talk about, because I'm going to be talking about the latest injury updates on Madcap Moss following the Elimination Chamber, which was a brutal one. WWE filming a show in Madison Square Garden? Wonder what that's about. Who will challenge Bron Breakker for the NXT title? And this first one that I'm going to talk about, Drake Maverick is back in WWE. Yes, yes, you guys have probably heard a lot of rumors about Drake Maverick coming back to WWE, and yes, the rumors are true. He is back with WWE. However, he is not back as an on-stage person. He's more, he has more of a backstage role, if you will. Because he will be working with, he'll be working with WWE as part of the creative team as a writer and a producer, which is awesome news. Honestly, him leaving WWE was just so heartbreaking, because Drake he had talked about it for years, that it was his dream to want to work with WWE, and his first run, he got the chance. He worked on 205 Live as a GM. Then he went from that to being a manager for a team, i.e. the Authors of Pain, of course. Then he went to NXT and competed there. Then he competed on 205 Live a few times. Then he went back to NXT, and then he got fired during that or rather, he had been released from his contract during that time. But Triple H gave him another chance, and now WWE has given him yet another chance to realize his dream. He went on to his LinkedIn page. Big shout outs to LinkedIn, no copyrights, of course. You guys know how this works. But funny enough, he had been a part of WWE, a part of the creative team, about a month ago, actually. So it's kind of funny that this is now being released to the public, which is pretty crazy. But Drake went onto his LinkedIn page and said this statement. He said, and I quote, excuse me, "I am pleased to announce that towards the end of 2021, I accepted the wonderful offer of becoming a part of the WWE creative writing team as a writer/producer. Some of my last appearances in ring for WWE fittingly happened in the UK. My last appearance of that tour was in my hometown of Birmingham, England, obviously the UK, where it all started. My parents had seen me perform many times at arena shows, but never for the WWE. I was finally at peace with what I had accomplished in life and said to them, both at the hotel with tears rolling down my face, beaming with pride, quote, Mom, Dad, I did it. My final appearance in the ring was in Louisville, Kentucky, which was my first home in the U.S. when I moved to the country in 2013. This writes itself, doesn't it? After a fun and entertaining match involving a cavalcade of stars, I don't know if I said the word right, but hey, we returned to the gorilla position to smiling faces, rounds of applause. That UK tour ending with that night in Louisville, Kentucky was the most rewarding week of my career. If you told me there and then that that was the end, I was good with it. I now have the opportunity to expand my horizons even further in the industry I love, as well as many other avenues including film and TV. After a career beginning in 2001 as an in-ring performer, I have personally exceeded all my personal expectations from a geographical and physical standpoint in a line of work somebody like myself should have never succeeded in. Needless to say, all thanks to the people I have had the pleasure of being around on the journey, and this industry as a whole. I am in a blessed position in life. It owes me nothing, yet I owe it everything. Thanks for reading, James. You guys know his real name is James Carton. So, obviously, as he just mentioned, he had been a part of the backstage role for the last couple months, and his contract expired back in November. So, honestly, I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome that Drake has finally been one with, have been one with his career, and that he's done everything that he wanted to do. He said, he started his career back in 2001. He was had competed on the independent scene all across the UK and all across Europe. Came to the States. He came to the States right around 2013, as he mentioned. Worked with TNA Impact Wrestling for a few years. Came to WWE as the GM of 205 Live when it was still around. And now, now he's a part of the creative team, which is awesome news. Awesome news. I will admit, though, I honestly don't know if we will get the chance to see him on screen. Maybe have him go chase after the 24/7 title again. Who knows? Who the fuck knows? But honestly, it's awesome. It's awesome to see him back in WWE. But the question remains, but the question remains, what role will he play in when WWE has a show in Madison Square Garden? That is the big question. The question remains, is WWE going to be filming its upcoming Madison Square Garden show? So you guys know, March 5th, which is actually next week, Brock Lesnar will be defending the WWE title against Bobby Lashley if he clears concussion protocol, which I have no words for that one, honestly. Apparently it will not. Although WWE has considered excuse me. Although WWE has thought about airing it on Peacock in the US and the WWE Network elsewhere, Mike Johnson of PW Insider has stated that apparently it will not take place. Big shoutouts to PW Insider, big shoutouts to Mike Johnson. No copyrights. Y'all know how this works with the algorithm. Obviously, WWE will have cameras at hand. If they are required to film, which would allow them to film as they please. But unfortunately, it will not. But unfortunately, it may not stream on Peacock and the WWE Network. But again, apparently, according to what I'm reading here, apparently Bobby Lashley is he is still in line for the WWE title rematch, but WWE is still searching for someone to challenge Brock Lesnar for the WWE title. In which case Lashley will be out. But here's the thing: he's supposed to be having shoulder surgery, supposed to be out for 4 months. That means what? Let's see. That means he would miss WrestleMania, WrestleMania Backlash, Money in the Bank, and SummerSlam. He'll be missing what? Up to five major premium live events over the course of 4 months, which is insane. But honestly, it's kind of hard to say. It's hard to say whether or not WWE will air the show on Peacock, but honestly, if Bobby Lashley does not clear protocol, then there has to be somebody. The only possible outcome that I could see is someone else from within the Elimination Chamber match itself to face Brock Lesnar. You know, possibly AJ Styles, maybe even Seth Rollins, maybe even Riddle for all we know, or it could be Austin Theory. But let's be real, I don't think Austin Theory would have the balls big enough to face Brock Lesnar. Everyone else would definitely do so. But as far as this Madison Square Garden show, even if Brock Lesnar were to lose the title, win or lose, it doesn't matter. He's still going to be facing Roman Reigns for the Universal title. But if he wins, it'll be title for title. If he loses, it'll only be for the Universal Championship. Which honestly, that match is very questionable. It's very questionable for the obvious reasons. It's obvious. Everybody, we've seen that match. We've seen the song and dance like multiple times. I don't know how many times we have seen it, but we've seen it. But honestly, again, whoever does challenge Bobby Lashley, or rather Brock Lesnar for the title, they're going to have a fight on their hands. But as far as, WWE filming their MSG show, I really don't see it happening anytime soon. If they do, it will stream on Peacock and the WWE Network, but I really don't see it happening at all. But now we move on to Madcap Moss. You guys know, back in this past Saturday at Elimination Chamber, we had a very botched moment. Apparently it was a botch, but we do have an update on the scary bump on Madcap Moss's neck, and apparently, according to Fightful Select, big shout out, no copyrights, y'all know how this works with the algorithm. Apparently it's all good news. Madcap Moss says that apparently he's feeling fine, with all of his tests have shown no damage to his neck, which is a good thing. But come on, let's be real. We all know he's hurting. So don't expect Madcap Moss to be coming back to SmackDown anytime soon. But again, this is following his match with Drew McIntyre this past Saturday at Elimination Chamber, where it was Falls Count Anywhere. But a lot of people were speculating that was Drew McIntyre's fault, but it wasn't. It was actually Madcap's fault. It was his own fault for pulling that stunt, because he was eager to prove that he wanted to prove himself against Drew McIntyre, and apparently that it was a one-time incident. I'm not buying it for shit. Honestly, I think it's bullshit. I just call bullshit. This is Madcap Moss we're talking about here. He doesn't know how to make really good dad jokes. Like, I'm gonna be honest. And I'm not saying this to show any disrespect in any way, shape, or form, but watching Madcap Moss do a dad joke is like watching a really bad Kevin Hart stand up. The only difference between Moss and Corbin and Kevin Hart is the fact that Kevin Hart has more cars, more money, and more houses than both of them combined. That's like the only difference. But still, I'm gonna be honest. Again, Madcap Moss as a comedian, not the best. If I wanted to watch a bad comedian, I would want to watch Dolph Ziggler. I'm just gonna be real. I'm just being real on that. But again, it is at least it's nice. At least it's nice to know that he's doing okay and that he's not injured or anything, which is pretty cool. But he is still a really bad comedian. Anyway, now the question becomes, who will challenge Bron Breakker for the NXT Championship? And it appears it will indeed be Dolph Ziggler. Apparently it's scheduled to take place at NXT Stand and Deliver in Dallas, Texas. This would actually be the first show outside of Orlando in 3 years. In fact, the last time was, I believe, Takeover Portland. All the other shows have all their... Ow. Ooh. Sorry guys, my neck and my back are just hurting right now. But yeah, I think NXT Takeover Portland was like the last show that they had. Let me get my book. And if I remember correctly, we had quite the interesting show. Yeah. So we had NXT Takeover Portland, where we saw Johnny Gargano face off against Finn Balor. Rhea Ripley faced Bianca Belair for the NXT Women's Title. We had the Undisputed Era's Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, or I guess now, what do they call themselves? Red Dragon, if I remember correctly. Face off against Pete Dunne and Riddle, known as the Broserweights. Then, of course, we had Adam Cole versus Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT title. Tegan Nox versus Dakota Kai in a street fight. It's a shame that Tegan Nox didn't even get a title run. Not a single title run in WWE. Utter bullshit. And then, of course, we had Keith Lee versus Dominik Dijakovic for the North American title, which was a banger of a match. It was a hell of a match. Insane. It was an insane match, but that was the card, and I believe Charlotte Flair ended up showing up to TakeOver to say that she would see Ripley at WrestleMania. But again, Stand and Deliver, first show outside of Orlando, which will be incredible. It's gonna be loud. It is going to be loud as fuck in Dallas, and I'm excited. I'm I am so excited because this is going to be a very interesting matchup because with Bron Breakker, this is actually Bron Breakker's big money match, at a major NXT event that wasn't War Games, you know, because you guys know War Games, he dominated that match against Team Black and Gold, which again, I'm gonna be honest. I mean the veterans against. I mean, come on. I mean the OGs versus the Young Guns. I mean, usually the OGs will win, but that one was brutal. But yeah, honestly, I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see it. But we did have a match this past Tuesday on NXT 2.0 where we saw Dolph Ziggler go up against Tommaso Ciampa, and Ciampa was struck by a cameraman who ended up being revealed as Robert Roode. And funny enough, Robert Roode is a former people forget Robert Roode is a former NXT champion himself. So that says a lot. It says that Robert Roode is teaching Dolph Ziggler how NXT operates and how, you know, and what it takes to become NXT champion. So that says a lot. So again, and also we actually have breaking news that supposedly next week it will be it'll be Roode and Ziggler, the Dirty Dogs, facing off against Tommaso Ciampa and Bron Breakker. That match was announced this past Tuesday. It was announced this Tuesday by Bron Breakker, and the Dirty Dogs were like, "You're on." So I'm excited to see that match. And Bron Breakker has been NXT champion since taking the title from Ciampa at New Year's Evil back in January last month. So, excuse me. And his first title defense was successful against Santos Escobar. So, as far as his match with Dolph Ziggler, that's going to be an interesting one. It's an interesting clash of styles because Dolph Ziggler has an amateur wrestling background, as does Bron Breakker. People forget that he's the son and nephew of the Steiner brothers. Again, I know I'm breaking the fourth wall. I know. But the Steiner brothers do have an amateur background, so Bron Breakker has one as well. It runs in the blood. But I'm excited for this matchup. Ziggler, Breakker, shut up and take my money. Shut up and take my money. It's a shame that I won't be able to call it on NXT, unfortunately, but honestly, that'd be a hell of a match. But who knows? Maybe you might see me at Stand and Deliver. Who knows? Only time will tell. But that brings me to the question of the day. Who do you think is going to win the NXT title? Bron Breakker or Dolph Ziggler? Let me know in the comments below. And that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want to see more WWE news videos, which get posted every Thursday, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys do not miss out on any new content that comes your way. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. All the links will be down in the description below. And if you guys have any fan mail that you want to send me and want me to open up on the channel, all the info will be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.